Hello and welcome to the Triple Frontrunner Build Guide for the Sagittarius Cup Champions meeting. Now, the Sagittarius Cup is going to feature the Rimakinen racetrack, which is notable for its 2 uphills followed by its 1 long downhill. Its final spurt begins on a straight, so we are going to want to pick up any straightaway skills that we can in order to try and target some speed carryover, because as you can see, the final leg of this race is by no means short, so front runners with their lowest coefficient of speed really need to get up to top speed quickly to get away from the other runners that are going to be attempting to chase them down. So what are the pros to running triple front? Well, you can control the pace of the lobby. That's either through runaways or just running triple front in general. Without them, you can get pretty slow lobbies and that can mess up things. So if you're going for like a triple N closer comp, you can't really do that. You can block lucky pace chasers, so if there are no front runners and it is only pace chasers, they are going to get a big buff and be a lot harder to beat. So that is something to consider. We also have angling and scheming to inherit from Seiun Sky, which has very good timing on this race. It's not quite instant, but it's good enough to where we are going to be taking this on all of our characters for that massive speed buff. Hopefully we can combine that with no stopping me and just have our Umas fly into first place with no one to be able to catch them. And with the recently released Christmas Mihono, we can get Restless as a recovery from that. There are some cons though. There are very high stat requirements here. It being alone means that we need stamina, and that is a problem because front runners really rely on high wit and power in order to be consistent and viable. We need wit because it's going to give us speed on the downhill and it's going to proc our skills, as well as just give us general mid-game speed that we need to get away from the pack in order to win. And power, we need to get up those hills and just accelerate and make sure, again, we can get away safely. End closers have extremely good acceleration options here with straightaway spurt, which is going to have perfect timing, so they are absolutely going to be the strongest position to play. So we are going to have to just accept that and beat them anyway. And Christmas Ogre, recently released, is going to be a very strong Uma that this is going... There's no ways around it. She is just, at the moment, the best Uma in the game, and there isn't much you can do about that. So getting into what recoveries we would like to take, there are 2 that I would like to point out. Restless from the recently released Christmas Mihono Top Gun, and Swinging Maestro. These are both going to be very reliable skills. Restless should proc on one of those 2 hills in the middle of the race, so that is going to be good. And then Swinging Maestro, you would hope just to get that on the first 1 or 2 corners of the race, and that should be good enough for you to win. Now, I don't think you should take 2 here. I think that is complete overkill. Although it's a long, you aren't going to see as many debuffers and they're not going to be as powerful without mystifying Murmur. This isn't a medium despite it barely being long. You won't see the debuffers as much and they're not going to be as scary. And the main debuff I expect you'll see is Stamina Eater. So just get around 800, 900 stamina. In fact, get 900 because you'll get a speed buff from the racetrack. Do that, pick up one of these skills and you will be happy. Now, the next important skill to point out is taking the lead. Every front runner needs this mandatory. It's a competitive skill that you need to be taking in order to be getting the first of the race. If you are against a lobby of people and they don't have this and they're running front runner, you're going to have such a massive advantage of them. You can see my videos in the Scorpio Cup where I face front runners without taking the lead, and they just never ever beat my front runners. Out of these 2 cards, I highly recommend that you go with Mihono Bourbon Wit. One, Twin Turbo isn't guaranteed to give you taking the lead, and she's just generally kind of weak as a stat stick in general. Mihono Bourbon is a wit card, so that is going to help your wit stat, and you just generally have better options for speed cards. Now, talking about Smart Falcon and Groundwork, you can use her for parent runs, absolutely, to guarantee that groundwork, but on your aces, I'm going to recommend that you don't run this card. As frustrating as that is, power cards are generally not favored on long tracks because you need to get stamina, and this card isn't really great at giving you stats anyway, so we still do want to get groundwork. In fact, I would say it's mandatory, just like taking the lead is, and you need your free triggers for that, so that could be, you know, Nakayama Racecourse, Winter Runner, and then Front Runner Savvy would do it, and then you have early lead as well, so that can act as a trigger, though I wouldn't rely on it just in case you fail the wit check. But absolutely get groundwork on your front runners, just make sure you inherit it from Sparks rather than running Smart Falcon. So, on to the first Uma we are going to talk about, Seiun Sky. I think she is going to be one of the best positioned front runners for this, because all of these skills that she have are just built for long naturally. She has the front runner savvy to help her with groundwork. Tail held high is an amazing mid-game skill. Fast-paced, an escape artist. Again, really strong mid-game. Vanguard Spirit, which you can only really get from her wit card, which isn't that great to run, so I don't think you're going to see a lot of other front runners running that card at all. And then her ult. Fortunately for her, her ult is not a wit check. But every other front runner, they have to perform a wit check whenever they want to do angling and scheming, and if they fail it, you're probably losing the race. But not with her, because it's her ult, and she doesn't care. So, she doesn't really need Spark, she's already got long A, and she's already front runner. Looking at her stat growth, she has 10% in stamina, which is going to help her hit that stamina amount. And then she also has a 20% in wit, which is absolutely lovely, because we're probably not going to have room to run that many wit cards, so getting a bonus to wit is very, very nice. Just has general good growth rates as an Uma, so Seiun Sky is going to be my #1 recommendation if you want to run a front runner. Then we have Maruzensky Summer. Specifically the Summer variant, not the Red variant. The Red variant is not nearly as good as the Summer one. So, she has inbuilt gold recovery with Restless, which means you do not have to run Mihono Top Gun, you don't have to run Super Creek, she already comes with corner recovery and triple S, so she is going to be just absolutely healthy. Even though she doesn't have a growth rate for stamina, it does not really matter. Her ult is absolutely monstrous for position keeping mid-game. It's going to push up all of your Umas. It makes her the best Uma in the game to take the angling and scheming, because normally she just takes first place of how good her ult is, and it is a long-lasting mid-game skill that really I only think Seiun Sky is going to be able to contest with her multiple mid-game golds. And there is some downsides to some of Maruzensky. She's only got a long C. It's not the hardest thing in the world to fix, though. So that is going to be the one thing you need to focus on. You need to be bringing a long C. You need to be bringing that groundwork parent. But if you can do that, well, you should be absolutely freaking golden on her. I think she's going to be a very, very strong front runner. Now, we need to talk about an unorthodox pick, but one I feel absolutely still is worth mentioning, and that is Daiwa Scarlet. Daiwa Rocket can into space. Now, we're basically just talking about her because of how strong her ult is. Her ult gives her speed carryover, and it gives her acceleration if we activate it at the right time. And that's just basically Daiwa Rocket. She fly away, she go really fast, she get angling and scheming, she go fast, she get no stopping me. That's the goal with this Uma. We just want to launch her off something else, and then she can go absolutely flying. Long B means we only really need one long spark in order to build her. However, as you can see from the side, she hasn't really got any skills that we would like her to have. She's normally built as a pace chaser, which is fine. but this is front runner video, so we're not talking about that. And she doesn't have anything for long naturally. She's more of a medium Uma, but do not count her out. She is going to be absolutely powerful if you can build her properly. And she has synergy with the next Uma that we are going to be talking about, which is Silent Suzuka. Now, we have to talk about this Uma, just because of how impactful she is to the meta. However, there is one thing that is going to be immediately obvious, is that this Uma is going to be a brutal build if we are going to invest in it. We can build this as a rabbit, so that's just, we don't want this to actually survive. We just want it to run ahead of all of our front runners. Our front runners catch up, our front runners no stopping me, and then angling, scheming, and blast away, and then we don't put any excels on the Suzuka, and we hope that she just kind of dies. If you want to actually build her as a runaway, that is going to be a big investment, because you need to get that long E all the way up to S, so that's going to be a lot of sparks. And then runaway is already heavy on stamina gain, so it's going to be hard to even make her survive. And then she's going to want high wit as well, because she's a front runner and she needs to run, and she's going to want high power to get, like, you can make it work, but the game is really gonna push you for it. So this is one that, if you want to build it as a rabbit, it should be a lot easier. If you want to build it as an ace and you want to build it runaway, best of luck to you, because I just think that's going to be really difficult. I think it's going to be really difficult, but she is still worth talking about, because she will, like, if you see her and she is well built, she could absolutely destroy. But the final Uma we are going to talk about today is, of course, Mihono Bourbon. How could I not talk about her? How could I not? Obviously my favorite Uma in the game. So, she isn't going to be very strong this CM. I'm going to get that right out of the bat. But she does have some advantages worth talking about. So, 20% stamina growth. That means she can really get away with just running one stamina card and some sparks, and she will just hit the stamina amount anyway, so that gives her room to run wit cards. She has great innate skills, so she has taken the lead, so we don't need to run Mihono wit. The chance getting it, we don't need to run taking twin turbo to get taking the lead, so that is absolutely lovely. We only need to just get groundwork and its triggers, and front runner straightaways and front runner corners. No matter the track, they're always going to be nice to have, so that is very good for her. And she has a long and bead, so it's not going to be easy to get her. No, it will be easy to get her aptitude up to an A. And if you can do that, then you have just an easy to build Uma. However, she does have a crippling weakness. Her ultimate is not very reliable here, so against Umas that are just as well built with yours but have better ults, she is going to struggle, because she needs to wait all the way until the final straight. She needs to not rush, she needs to not late start, and if she does that, then the game will let her have her speed ult, and it is a good speed ult. But you just have better options when it comes to Umas with ults like Seiun Sky or Daiwa Scarlet. But I'm going to be building her anyway, because she's my favorite Uma, so I wanted to talk about her briefly. Now, speaking of decks, these are going to be more free-to-play friendly decks. You'll notice though that they are running Kita Sand Black SSR, because I see most people have this now after the rerun, so that's why that's there. And then we just have Sweep Tertio, Shinko Wendy. If your Uma has a speed bonus, you can drop that down to 2. All of your decks need Mihono Bourbon wit, unless you're running Mihono Bourbon. That's just consider that a mandatory card. So hope you have that, because otherwise that's not great. Whatever SSR stamina card you have, here we're just using Manhattan Cafe. You can use Mihono Top Gun stamina, but bear in mind that you cannot use Mihono Top Gun stamina with Mihono Top Gun speed. And then Super Creek, you can replace that with Rice Shower Power, but I think stamina cards are going to be better here because it is a long. You can also alternatively run Riko Kashimoto if you want to. She is by no means a bad card, especially on the Unity Cup. But you know, if you want to wail out a bit much more, the decks are not going to look too different. It's just going to be, we're just going to throw in our strongest SSRs basically. You can try to use Silent Suzuka's speed if you want, though I think her race bonus is going to be a bit of a hindrance to you getting a lot of skills. Satono Diamond, I was talking about that card with someone on Discord, and its gut bonus is going to be helpful for getting you to 600 guts, which will give you a speed bonus on this track, so that is a very nice card. We have the Super Creek, just for the Swinging Maestro. Some other cards to think about are Seiun Sky Stamina, who can give you her gold skill, which is the gold front runner skill, which just gives you Escape Artist, which gives you loads of mid-game speed. That's going to be a good one. Her Wit card gives you Vanguard Sprint, which is basically the same thing, but you have to be in first to activate it, so maybe not quite as good as her Stamina card. And then you also have the Narita Bryan Stamina card, which can give you Beeline Burst as well, which we talked about at the start of the video. That's going to be another strong skill, but my recommendation, if you can, would be just run your Speed card core, run a Super Creek or a Riko Kashimoto SSR if you have it maxed out, and then try to get some Wit cards in there, so that will help your Umas actually get good position and give them good chance to activate their skills so they actually win. Awesome. So, thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and yeah, if you do decide to run Triple Front, please let me know how you go, what strategies that you're going to go with, what Umas that you're going to take, because I would absolutely love to know. I just want to talk with more people about Uma Musume. And if you have any recommendations or stuff that I could improve in this guide, leave that down in the comments. But yeah, have a lovely day. Bye!